Well, hello everybody. I'll give it that minute to let people log on. Got my resume done here in Hamilton, which is good. In the libraries, they're a lot better here, and it was pretty interesting. I'll give a little story while I let people log on. But, my problems with Service Ontario, you know what you find at the local library? Ukrainians, displaced peoples from My Service Canada. One woman crying, clearly, I believe to be Turkish descent, I think, but Ukrainian accent, speaks Ukrainian, and she's on the phone at a point crying. I didn't intercept or get involved. I understand the level of frustration for so many people. But you can see at the backpack struggling, obviously, from Service Ontario down to the library. What's nice about Hamilton, but it's sad, folks, and you gotta understand this stuff. And I'll be quick here because I see people are logging on and they're going to want to get to what this video is about. But really quick, when you pay taxes for a specific service and levels of government, so the federal government, for instance, you pay your EI premium, so does an employer, and then that's supposed to translate into job training, all these services provided to you. And of course, every province has a provincial power, and one Doug Ford gets a portion of that from the federal government and transfer payments, and that's to be used, right, to help with employment insurance. But he chose not to use it. He turns around and privatizes it. And now, when you go to a Hamilton library, and I'm sure, I would think maybe not, but there's municipalities picking up the tab. Because I went to Hamilton Library, and of course, really nice, better than Alberta libraries, and they give you free printouts, 10 free printouts. You don't have to pay nothing. You just register yourself with your ID, and they say, you get 10 to use this service, and here's our resume building and all that. So I got my free resumes. I got 8 more I can do for specific employers should I need it. Free. But there's the municipality picking up this expense for employment, skills, and training by Hamilton, whose revenue source is house taxes. Now, house taxes for the crummy roads, that's what they're for your roads. And I mean, that's great on the municipality. I guess they're going to pick up the slack, but why pay the EI premiums? Why, right, folks? Why do that on the federal level if it's transferred in a payment to the province who decides not to use it? So then a local municipality who collects tax from a completely different source of taxation, supposed to be tied to education, right? You see the problem here, folks? Robbing Peter to pay Paul, and where's the accountability? Well, the answer is none. Anyways, that's my story, and I'm sorry for that Ukrainian woman. I can't help you. I got my own problems, and Canadians have their own problems. You got suckered by the old Trudeau, and I'm seeing it. That's 2 days of this so far, seeing it firsthand, and, I feel, but at the same time I don't, because I'm not happy with the government and the bullshit Trudeau and the rest of them propagate. Just as the transfer of services, you see a woman with a backpack, middle-aged, and she's crying, not good with the language. I get it, but you know what, Trudeau, this is your BS, and for all those premiers who are going to play Trudeau's game, you're garbage too. You're all on the media. I mean, how much do I gotta pay? My service contributions maxed out, folks. Triple the payments, because I had multiple employments last year. I tripled my EI CPP contributions, and here I am in Ontario. It yields nothing for me. Nothing for me. It's out of pocket, and I guess Hamilton picks up the tab through the public library, part of education, which shouldn't. It shouldn't be, folks. That's the whole point. And there's other points I could make and go off on a tangent, but I won't. But I'm going to get into what this video is about. And people sharing stuff me, the power shift, my former political party completely usurped by a nutcase multi-millionaire, and the party's gone down the garbage. She never built it, I did. All the talent's left there, and then people coming to me accusing me of, you've killed the party, you've done all these atrocities. It's like, it's 2022, folks. You gotta find a new location for your frustration and your problems. I built something for Alberta. I'm sorry that rich people who don't have any talent, just by wealth alone, it's usually cheating people out of money. And that person specifically did actually commit a fraud. They're lucky that the laws weren't changed in time to affect them, but you can look in history of that person. They're a fraudster. Two things politics you can't be associated with: child sex crimes or absolute fraud, or you're problematic with money. Those are things the public will never forgive you on. You can't go out in politics or run a political party with any of those atrocities under your belt, and you never amount to nothing. That party never grew anything past me, and people say, well, why didn't you stick with it? The internal people of the party know why I didn't stick with it, and I've moved on. The template was left. If people can't take that works, it was largely done at myself and only a key group of people's complete expense, their blood, sweat, and tears. I don't know what to tell you, and people can be angry and blame me. Why didn't you do more? We all get to a point in life where we've had enough. And, I built something with a great template and design, and it's not there anymore, but the legal path will always be there. That original path will always be there for anybody else to take that up. But for me to go out and bang on drums and go fight, for what? You don't get compensated for it. I never took money from anybody. There was one family of donators, specifically in my campaign in some of Calgary. I mean, that was beautiful, by a very, very wealthy Alberta group, and I mean, I love that. It's all published out there, and I mean, they're the ones who have financially had a loss there, and what do you expect me to do? I did the campaign, it's over. And when we get into constitutionalism, folks, if you don't have credible doctorates from at least the top 20 nations of the world, doing well and well today in real democracy, and the people are doing okay. If you don't have the best of the best from there, and you're not willing to go forward with all the people of Canada, or in a province, all the people of that province, people over the legal age of 18, you don't got nothing. You're just another group of people trying to play crown. And the idea and notion, we're going to go to the UK Parliament or 1931. I've heard this from all those lunatics, even back in my Alberta provincial politics, as I built a party with literally nothing but heart, sweat, mind, and crossing T's and dotting I's, and not cheating people, not lying to people, and actually including people. We'll get there federally. That's going to happen. But people sharing me this stuff and, well, what's your take on this and that? Listen, I've given the presentation a number of times. All these spin-off crackpots, lovers of the crown, talking about the UK. The United Kingdom does not regulate the domestic affairs of Canada absolutely and entirely since 1952. And I am sorry, people, you will not find a credible published economics historian or absolutely constitutional doctorate expert with the largest publications, most viewed, recognized publications in the world. I have them all. It's not to brag. It's not to act like I'm a Superman. Richard Albert pulled a prank on me, for example, on April Fool's Day. Me and Tina fell for it. We had a good laugh with Richard about it. That I'm on a personal level with people because I actually read their works more than that, I comprehend their works. When you do that out on the world stage over and over again and meet new people, take in everything they've written about a subject, learn it entirely, and be able to communicate back and forth with them, at least on their level, on their works, do you think that person respects you, or is going to respect somebody who doesn't have a clue what they're talking about? In fact, that person who's devoted their whole life and credited, and they're a doctorate, and that's been their whole life. They are the master doctor of that subject, and everything you talk about doesn't even compute with them because it's wrong. And it's like grading a paper, because that's what these people do with some of the sharpest minds of their countries, much larger and more populous than ours, which means you're fielding a lot more very, very intelligent people. So when people publish stuff and then these kind of people look at it and it's cockamamie, completely off the wall, and there's no basis of any accreditation there whatsoever, every expert looks and goes, sorry, I've been working at this for over 20 years, 30 years, some 40, 45 years. None of this not only isn't legitimate, it's not real, and there's no verification in whatsoever. You're completely wrong. It's like testing a paper. Here's an F minus. Like you didn't even hit the mark. And it's not to be mean, folks. It's not to be mean. It's just, I don't want to look anymore. I don't want to hear Power Shift A or TIP and Sharon McLeese and the rest of them. The radical fanatics, a lot of them. Some are the extreme socialists, some are the extreme right. They claim to be capitalists, but they're not. They're more like that alt-right leading to an absolute socialism, or pure rich people's safe haven of the crown, which isn't really capitalism at all. And the game Monopoly is the absolute destruction of capitalism. That's what you're playing the game for. Becoming the monopoly, well, guess what? The game's no more fun to play anymore, and you don't have any players because everybody's slave now. I mean, I don't want that kind of world. That's the alt-right, that's the alt-left. Either way you want to look at it. Call it state, call it a capitalist bunch of oligarchs on state. I mean, it don't work. And people going with Westminster and we got to contact the UK, or constitutional conventions by a handful of know-nothing, no-goods. No offense. And it's, when I say that, I mean it like you didn't even bother going out to learn what constitutionalism really is. You've created your own vision of it, which doesn't match any majority. And not only that, it always leads to absolute autocracy. You're not special, you're not the first one, and I love the idea of looking into it, but when it's all of your craft, meaning you didn't bother reading anybody else's works over the millennia, that's a problem. When you can't look at the rest of the world in comparative analysis, and then more than that, reach out to doctorates on the world level and see their works, read their works, take it all in and learn it. Give them your time, because you care, right? You care about your fellow man. I mean, sorry, garbage, folks. It's all garbage, and it'll always be garbage because nobody's done the work. They're really great at getting the money, beautiful websites and beautiful claims and nice artistic video, great publications, but they're all on YouTube. It's not really accredited. You won't find any institution or supporting academics come forward and say, wicked, well done, you nailed it. None of them. They're all going, wow, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And in fact, it looks like a lot of it's been made up, fabricated in that crown fancy is what I see, because the crown always has fancy. Trudeau, Conservatives, you pick your leader, doesn't matter. NDP, they got these utopias. Trust a small group of us to rule over you in divine absolute authority, and trust me, we know what we're talking about. Trust me. I don't trust nobody with nothing, let alone my family, my children, my financial decisions. I don't. You can barely trust the government. They change the goalposts all the time. And people are like, we're going to go get permission from the UK, who has no authority over Canada anymore. Internationally, the royal family sure does. And sure, UK will manipulate with that. And yes, we give our sovereignty to the United Kingdom, specifically, again, the royal family. Read your constitution. Apparently, these tremendous producers of these videos can't even read and interpret their own fucking constitution. There are 205 federal constitutions of 205 nations. Only 193 are recognized legal entities in this world, given their sovereignty. The rest are in no man's land, de facto, even de jure, which is problematic for world trade and economy and all kinds of other aspects these people can't even look at. You mean well, but if you don't do the work and you're not willing to do the work, you're no good for sweet fuck all. Just like employers, when an employee is no good at doing the work, what happens to them? They get tossed out. In politics, they often flood politics. Those kinds of people are exactly what floods politics, and that's problematic. That's why constitutionalism is so important. People are sending me saying, oh, your claims on Solomon Islands, and then the Truth and Reconciliation Commission also from the British Islands. And then that too, I proved, sent back, and people can't accept it, that there was no constitution enacted there. Never was. Those people were left dangling in the weeds. Same with Eritrea. You've got to look beyond YouTube videos. You've got to read what is published in that government, in those opposition parties, what was in that parliament. If you look, you'll find out that constitution never got implemented. You'll see that the parliament itself hasn't sat since 2002. There is law, and then there's enforcement of the law. The constitution never saw the light of day. I research everything I do. Everything I give people is 100%. And it's not my fault if you're not able to research. This is just a statement to people messaging me. And, when people asking things, it's not to always give people shit, but do a little better research, do more digging. I really don't have time to entertain a lot of people's things. And if you're that susceptible, which a lot of Canadians are, a lot of First Peoples are, to the first thing you see on YouTube without any verification, none whatsoever, to who the group is or where it comes from, you're always going to be a victim. You're always going to be bent over, and you're always going to empty out your wallets to somebody who really doesn't give two shits about you. That's systemic of Canada. And that is one of the biggest faults of the institutionalization that the Crown perpetuates on you. When I say the Crown, we're talking your provincial and federal government, absolutely. And all those that they appoint, whether they get them in at the municipal level. I can give you an example right now. We have an Edmonton City mayor, federal cabinet guy, privy council member, now the mayor of Edmonton. Even though he was thrown out of office out of Edmonton, right out of Mill was thrown out of there, but somehow he gets elected to mayor. Yeah, that's just how institutionalized Canadians are. No matter what horrific things they implement and the horrendous things they do against you, the people, you are quick to forget, and 2 years later advance them in another position, thinking that somehow that's going to benefit you, a lifetime Privy Council member. Boy, oh boy, Alberta sure loves to get flogged and beaten. Solomon Islands, you can look at education there. People say, no, it's not like that. Chancellor, remember what I taught everybody about Chancellor? And when you define it in Oxford versus Webster versus the Russian lexigalos, people, don't pick up Webster's to translate Solomon Islands Chancellor positions. Pick up your Canadian Oxford or Oxford, because Australia, New Zealand, and Canada are underneath Oxford. Canada specifically, Canadian Oxford. There are minor variations, but there are variations, important legal variations. You know, these are free tricks of the trade that I teach people. This is all self-taught. Because if you don't do that, I took the course from the smartest man in the world in legal speak, today's most credible author, publicist, doctorate of legal speak, the man of all of them, #1 in the world. I was given 10 minutes of time with him, 10 minutes, and I went so far in learning legal speak. That's important. A lot of people wouldn't even bother with something like that, but that's where you learn which dictionary you're using in what jurisdiction, under what overlap, what governance, who's got the control, what is their dictionary. Once you start doing that, and then you comparatively check other dictionaries, you find out how that country is viewing that country or what they think that country is doing. But then you learn what is the legal speak of that country. Then you start to define these things, and then you learn the crown. It's sneaky, it's manipulative, but that is reality. Lots of lunatics, I don't get into it. I will never bring forward constitutionalism that doesn't include every member of the region over the 18 years of age. Absolutely all First Peoples, absolutely all other Canadians. Entirely. If you can't do that, you're going nowhere. It's not going to be a handful of dullards with no legal experience or no idea of what constitutionalism is. Never going to happen. I wouldn't ever do that, because you will lead square into full autocracy. I just gave the video presentation of Eritrea yesterday. That's what happens when you don't have credible, viable experts. Look at their constitution. Haven't sat since 2002. They're messed beyond all measure. Absolute full-on autocracy. You think the people wanted that? Do you think the people that voted in referendum to leave the Soviet Union wanted to become unitary in Ukraine? It's why Russia's there today. People don't want to look at it. Oh, no. I know. I have nothing to have any credibility to prove what I'm saying. But we'll just make it up as we go. It's done all the time all over the world. But that's never where I'm going to be, or where I take any party or any platform. I never, ever lie or take away the power of the people, and I give it to everybody straight. That's what we're doing here. No radical lunatics. Thanks. That's my video this afternoon. I still have day 13, story 13 later today. And I gotta go drop off a couple resumes. Okay, bye everybody. Bye now.